Welcome back, technical traders. This is the Humble Chartist, and today I'll be doing a technical breakdown on Tencent. Ticker symbol 0700. Before we begin, please take a second to give the video a like and subscribe for more charting and price manipulations. I deeply appreciate those who have liked and subscribed to my videos and channel. I'll first start off by analyzing the daily charts, followed by the weekly charts, and monthly if necessary. So this request was by apps. He requested for Tencent as well as process. So hopefully I gave you a good analysis. Anyways, we are looking at Tencent. Tencent had a very good uptrend. So usually when there's uptrend, you just ride the wave up, and there's nothing too much to worry about. You only start to worry when the MACD start to turn too much. For instance, on the daily chart, you can see that the MACD has really turned a few times. These are the best times to sell and exit your positions. Well, if the daily MACD gives you too much of fluctuations, you can always look at the weekly MACD. So when the weekly MACD comes into play, usually it's a form of distribution. You will see these kind of things. This is actually a form of distribution on the MACD. So you like go in and out several times, and it'll confuse you. But on the third or fourth attempt, when it breaks out, that's the best time to actually sell your positions. And once again, if you are confused, always look at the candlesticks. So whenever the candlesticks becomes too obvious and the greens are too long, that's the best time to get out. Because retail investors will want to FOMO in and want to jump in thinking that the price will go higher. But you can see that this very bearish candle appeared. You can see that this red candle with a very long shadow on top and finish near the bottom is an indication that the big players have already had a huge sell down. And look at all these red candles. All these red candles is an indication that big players have already left the particular stock. And ever since then, they have not really come back. So Tencent has been drifting for quite a while. It's a stock with a very huge market cap. In fact, one of those tech giants. You can see that it has consolidated and moved quite a bit. And the volume has also been dropping. So when the volume drops, is usually an indication that we may see a reversal soon. So let's take a look at the daily charts to get a better picture of where we stand now and where exactly do we go. So when a stock is moving sideways, there's actually not much of an excitement. The only excitement is when it reaches the peak and it also reaches the bottom, because that's where we either break out or we either break down. So as you can see, the peaks are usually here, and the bottoms, the lows are all here. So currently now we are like somewhere in between, and if you look closely, there's actually some cloud support. The clouds are coming down. So on the way down, the cloud will act as a support. This is on the way down. On the way up, the cloud act as a resistance. So that's why we see a resistance here. And there was a slight pullback. So now we are above the clouds, but we seem like we are coming down. You can see that we did have a bullish looking candle here, and it just touched slightly to the clouds. But that being said, even though the cloud acts as a support, I believe that in the event that due to uncertainty or the market is quite weak currently, we may expect a further slide. But my worst case scenario, I believe for this particular counter would be about support should come in at about 440. This would be very much the last support before we eventually test the new lows, or even create a double. Either we get a double bottom at this price level here, or we create a new low, because you can see that there are many supporters at this level here, and I do expect buyers to come back at 440. But however, if you notice that the MACD is already turning down, it's not a good indication, even though it's still early to say. You can see that the blue line has sustained above the orange line for quite a period of time from here, all the way up here. And now it's currently going to turn on the daily candles. If you look at the weekly candles, you can see that it's looking pretty good. It looks like there's someone accumulating and it's going up. Well, we can have a slight pullback down, and hopefully the uptrend will remain upwards and we do not break down. Okay, let's take a look at where are my potential resistance coming up. In the event that we manage to hold 440, the first resistance that I will see would be the $500 psychological support. This is just a psychological support because it's a round number, it's a whole number. People tend to take profits at this level at 500. Thereafter, I'm looking at about 508, 507. If you notice here, this was the previous high, so it may potentially turn into a upcoming resistance, or you can have a very fake breakout here. So a fake breakout is to lure those who long traders to come in, and then that's where they take the breakout, and then we fall back down. Similarly, actually this happened just a few weeks ago. You can see that there was a previous high here. This previous high was in fact broken. You can see there was a high here, and then it was broken here, broken twice. These are called fake breakouts. So fake breakouts will lure these FOMO investors to come in, and that's where they take the breakout and the price collapse. It is very, very common, so I don't expect this thing to not happen at 508 levels. But in the event that we clear this 508 convincingly with huge volume and healthy volumes, then the next resistance I'm looking at is actually about 520. 520 being there was a previous high here. So I do expect some resistance at about 524 and about 525. This is a very critical support here. But that being said, since the stock is moving sideways, I don't expect much excitement. And yep, that's really just about it for Tencent. Let's move on to process. So as you can see, process are, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, they do hold a certain stake in Tencent. So their trend with Tencent is relatively similar. You can see that it had an uptrend and now it's currently consolidating sideways, same as Tencent. Very, very similar. But definitely sometimes the players are different. So they may have different actions, and I'm not too sure where exactly are the earnings. You can see that compared to Tencent, this process is actually doing much worse because Tencent is hovering around here. Currently, process is at its low. So you can see that there's one low here, a second low here, and you can consider this as a third low. And we also had this current low now. So it's not looking too good. Looking at the MACD is also looking pretty bearish. So I do hope that we hold at these levels here and these levels here as well. Because if we do not hold, then we may create a new low. And that's not a very, not too pleasant a thing. You can see that thankfully buyers came back today or just the other day, and we pushed the prices up to prevent it from creating a new low. That being said, we should take a look at the weekly MACD to have a better picture. So if you look at the weekly MACD, you can see the Tencent actually had went up. But for process on the weekly charts, it's already turning down. So it shows a bit of signs of weaknesses. In the event that we fail to hold these levels, we may break down. But that being said, it's good to always watch. The market makers may tend to break this level of support. So if you see that the volume is low and it's not too big a volume like this, then it can be fine. But if it breaks down for a few two or 3 days, then it's better to be careful because it may continue breaking down to lower lows. Yeah. So just to give a recap, both stocks are currently downtrending, even though it looks like it's consolidating. Tencent, I would say that it's always better to buy the original company because it's more big players are more supportive of it rather than buying those companies that have a huge stake in Tencent. So heading back to Tencent, in all honesty, I believe that big players are actually supporting this counter. My personal support, to give a recap, will be at 440. So currently, I've already given you my Tencent support. I hope that you also give me your support by hitting the subscribe button. Jokes aside, so after we manage to hold at this 440, I believe that Tencent can break up to looking at the psychological resistance at about 500, and thereafter 508, and lastly about 524, 525, 526, around those levels. So if there's anything else, I will give you guys an update. Thank you for stopping by, and do check out the rest of the channel. Leave in the comment section below on your thoughts on this particular stock, or if you have any other stock TA requests. I hope that you did enjoy this analysis of these two companies that you have suggested. Also, do share this with your friends who are interested in market manipulation. Lastly, I do appreciate any feedback to improve the video content for you guys. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.